Welcome back to another daily walk. Well, today I just want to talk a little bit about there's been all of these tragedies going on in our world, and increase in violence and all of these all the shootings, all of these just issues that are going on, and it makes us always stop and ask this question: what is going on in our world? Why is it all this happens? What's the solution? Do we ban all the guns? I mean, what do we do? And it's interesting because you look back through history, American history, which has been the most pro firearm country in the world. I mean, kids used to bring their hunting implements with them to school and keep them in their locker all day. We didn't have these issues. There used to be an old bumper sticker I saw once that said, when prayer was heard in the halls of our school, gunshots were not. And that is definitely an interesting thing to think about. So in full reality, I want to talk briefly about why it is we have so much of this going on in our world. And to get this and understand this a little bit, we have to dig back to Hosea. So Hosea the prophet, he was a prophet that preached to the people of Israel, and he was given a word picture. God says, go and take yourself a wife of harlotry. This is a prostitute. Go marry a prostitute, Hosea. And she's going to be unfaithful, but it's going to be a word picture for how I will not abandon the nation. But there's several points in here. And primarily, I want to look at chapters 4 and 5 here. And we're not going to read all of them exactly, but I do want to read sections out of these. So look at Hosea chapter 4, starting in verse 1. I think we're going to do 1 through 6. So Hosea 4, 1 through 6. Listen to the word of the Lord, O sons of Israel, for the Lord has case against the inhabitants of this land, because there is no faithfulness or kindness or knowledge of God in the land. There is swearing, deception, murder, stealing, idolatry. They employ violence, so that bloodshed follows bloodshed. Therefore the land mourns, and everyone who lives in the land languishes, along with the beasts of the field and the birds of the sky, and also the fish of the sea disappear. Yet no one will find fault, and let no one offer reproof, for your people are like those who contend with the priest. So you will stumble by day, and the prophet also will stumble with you by night, and I will destroy your mother. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because they have rejected knowledge. I also will reject you from being my priest, since you have forgotten the law of your God. I will also forget your children. You see, our world has become increasingly hostile to the God of the universe. We are hostile to his son, Jesus Christ, who came and walked on the earth and died on the cross for the sins of the world. And the world chooses instead to mock him. We mock him. We cast off his laws. We say, those are social constructs. There's nothing real there. Those are social constructs. We say, that's old, antiquated stuff. We're a people of progress. Where has our progress gotten us? We are a world of multiple extremes. We are either destitute, impoverished, and dying of hunger, or we are fat, overweight, obese. We are either a nation that casts off all faith or pulls on every faith but the true faiths. And it is real. We have cast God out of every element of society that has anything to do with state, which was not the institution in the Constitution. The Constitution said that we had the freedom to practice our religion. The concept of separation of church and state, which is not in the Constitution or the Declaration, was a private letter from Thomas Jefferson. Clarifying what it means is that the state will not say, hey, you must all be Baptists, you must all be Presbyterians, you must all be Catholics. That is what the separation is. But what it did not mean is that we excise God from everything. In fact, go back through You'll find that the Thanksgivings, I talk a lot about this in my book, Happy Holidays, co-written with a friend of mine, where we trace through the origins of holidays, pay particular attention to that chapter on Thanksgiving. Because that chapter on Thanksgiving, that chapter actually showed us that there's so much from George Washington to Abraham Lincoln. They relied so much on God. They just didn't say it's the Anglican God, the Baptist God, the Methodist God, the, whatever. But we still have this reliance, this knowledge, this dependence of God. We all agreed on these general principles, but these general principles have been cast out of our society. We have thrown them all out. We will not even allow God's name to be mentioned in our schools. We have no knowledge of it. We've become pure secular people. And pure secular people leads to violence. It leads to bloodshed. It leads to swearing and deception and murder and stealing and adultery. They employ violence so that bloodshed follows bloodshed. It follows it from Texas. It follows it to Illinois. It follows it to Ohio. It follows it to Pennsylvania. Because we have cast God out of our society. My people are destroyed for their lack of knowledge, is what God tells us in Hosea 4:6. And that is true. And it goes down through. If you read through the rest of this section, that is your homework assignment from Our Walk in Christ. Read Hosea 4 and 5. Read the whole book of Hosea. All right. But looking down through this, the more they multiplied, the more they sinned against me. I will change their glory into shame. They feed on the sin of my people and direct their desire toward their iniquity. And it will be like this, like people, like priests. So I will punish them for their ways and repay them for their deeds. They will eat, but never have enough. They will play the harlot, but not increase, because they have stopped giving heed to the Lord. This goes through and goes through and goes through, and we get to the ending section of Hosea 5. Let's go ahead and pick it up in verse... let's just pick it up in verse 8, I think. 8 to the end of the chapter. So Hosea 5, 8 to 15. Blow the horn in Gibeah, the trumpet in Ramah. Sound an alarm to Beth Aven. Behind you, Benjamin. Ephraim has become a desolation in the day of rebuke. Among the tribes of Israel, I declare what is sure. The princes of Judah have become like those who move the boundary. On them I will pour out my wrath like water. Ephraim is oppressed, crushed in judgment, because he was determined to follow man's command. Therefore, I am like a moth to Ephraim, and the rottenness to the house of Judah. When Ephraim saw his sickness, and Judah his wound, and Ephraim went out to Assyria and sent to King Jareb, but he was unable to heal you or to cure you of your wound. For I will be like a lion to Ephraim, and like a young lion to the house of Judah. I, even I, will tear to pieces and go away. I will carry away, and there will be none to deliver. And this is the important part, verse 15. I will go away and return to my place until they acknowledge their guilt and seek my face. In their affliction, they will earnestly seek me. God has turned his back on this nation. There is an awesome sermon by John MacArthur. Go and grab a copy of it. You can head on to gty.org, search for the sermon. It's called When God Abandons a Nation. It is one of the best sermons MacArthur has ever delivered. If I remember, I will put a link to it in the description down below. If I don't, this is your reminder. gty.org, use the search function, find When God Abandons a Nation. You can find the text, you can find the audio, I think you can find the video as well. All free. So there's not sell anything there. It's all free. But that is the picture that's going on here. We have cast off God. We have excised everything, and we have reaped the harvest. We've reaped the harvest of wrecked and destroyed families and children who don't know their fathers and turning away from God. We have let bloodsheds into our world because we have no hope any longer. We are pitting Republicans against Democrats and right against left and this against that and blah, blah, blah. Until all that happens is we snap and bloodshed follows bloodshed because we have forgotten our God. Our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, and God will go away until we earnestly seek him. Nation, wake up. Seek God today. Cast off this insanity. Seek God today. that is my message for you. I'll have a link to Happy Holidays down below. We have that on print book, on ebook, or on Audible. So you can use my Audible link down there. And if you use my Audible link to sign up for Audible, they will send me a good commission. That's a great way you can help support the channel. If you already are on Audible, I have 5 books over there at the time of this recording. You can use your credits to pick those books up. So thanks for coming along, and I hope that you enjoy your daily walk in our Lord.